The first time I applied for an Indian visa, I was pretty intimidated. It was hard to know some of the questions, how to answer them, how specific to be, whether I was giving the correct information, whether I get in trouble, whether it'd be kicked out, kicked back at me. And so I thought, well, for somebody who's really new to the Indian visa process, it could be pretty intimidating. So I thought I'd bring you along with me and apply for an Indian visa. And I'm going at the end of this month, so I'm applying for my next Indian visa right now. I thought I'd bring you along in the process. So we are applying for the e-visa today. It will last for a few months. I believe that you're meant to apply for it within 60 days of travel. So I always do it within 30 days of travel. Basically, I do it the same month. We are traveling at the end of this month, so I'm applying for the visa at the beginning of this month. I do expect that once my application goes through, it will be a few days at the very most. Probably tomorrow I will get my visa. This is an electronic visa, so it simply comes to my inbox. It's emailed to me. Some pieces of information you want ahead of time, of course. The fee for this is about $25. I think that it has been $50 or $55 in the past. I never really know until you come to that payment window. You really don't know what the fee is, to be honest with you. I've seen it vary. It varies. You also want to have a decent picture of yourself that is not your passport picture, but a separate picture. It should be I think it should be under 200 kilobytes in size, and it should be 2 inches by 2 inches. I'll talk about that more in here. You should also have a good scan of your passport in PDF form that should be under 300 kilobytes, and I'll talk about that more as well. There's a few unusual pieces of information. You need to have a reference on American soil, and you also have to have a reference in India. I'll talk about that more. And I think the other piece of this that you might not have all of the information in hand right away would be your parents' information. You have to have their nationality, but also the places where they were born. It doesn't have to be super specific, but anyway, I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. So you might want to have those, you might want to gather all of that information together first before you begin the application process. To apply for an Indian visa, you want to just go into Google and go e-visa India. This is going to give you the ability to just do this over the internet. You're going to want to go to what comes up first in the search bar, which ends with the address .gov.in. You want to make sure that you are in that official website. It's going to cost about $25 as far as I can tell. Sometimes it costs different amounts of money, but it may cost more if you go to a different website. All right, so you just scroll down to apply for the visa. And the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is choose your nationality. Just hit U, and then you'll be able to scroll down to United States. Quite a long list if you scroll down, so just hit the U first, and then you just scroll down to United States of America. I have an ordinary passport. We're going to be coming in through the Delhi airport. When you do a date of birth, just make sure that you select the year first. It saves a lot of time, so select my year is 1973. Of course, I'm going to be blurring some of this very personal information. This is the actual application that I'm doing in front of you here, so here you go. My email address, pop it in there. We're going to be simply tourists, so we do the tourist visa. When you click on tourist, then you have to select and just go ahead and do the regular tourism. I mean, it depends on why you're going there, but most people are just doing tourism, recreation, and so on. Our expected date of arrival is late in December. I actually can't remember the exact date, but you basically just have to select something around that time. It's not going to be particular about making sure that you come in at the exact date. All right, so we have read all the instructions. Now, these two are tricky bits. You need to have a recent color photograph of yourself. It should not be your passport photo. And then you also have to have a scan or a photo of your actual passport page for information. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that, but they're a little bit tricky to get right. So I'll be talking about that when it comes down to it. On this next page, we're going to be filling out information directly from the passport. Surname is the last name. Given names is your first and middle names. In my case, I have 2 middle names. I did change my name when I got married, so I go ahead and do my previous surname or last name and my first and middle names. And then they have male, female, or transgender actually as an option here as for gender. And then what I did for the city of my birth, I went ahead and did the city of my birth, and then the country again is the United States, so find the U. and select United States, and you only have to scroll down a little bit to the United States of America. The citizenship or national ID is actually my social security number. My religion is Christian. They have some fun choices here, like Zoroastrianism. There are some Zoroastrians in India. I have no visible identification marks. And then you can fill out your education level, your nationality, whether you were born or naturalized into your country of birth or into your citizenship country. For this next area here, this is directly from your passport number, the place where it was issued. You're going to go ahead and just select the country. For me, it would be the United States. The date of issue, all of this information will be on your passport information page, the date of issue, the date of expiration. Now, I don't have another passport, so I'm able to make the bottom part of that disappear, and the only information I have to include in that section there is those first 4 pieces of information. Technically, I'm a citizen of Ireland, but I've never gone ahead and gotten the passport, so I don't have any information to share for that. But eventually, I will probably be getting an Irish passport, so I will probably have to fill out that information in future. Right, so on this page, just basic information, your street address, your city, the country. Again, just hit U and select your country, your state, zip code. It doesn't say you have to fill in the phone number, but I think I've gotten that error message in the past, so go ahead and fill in your phone number, at least in that first phone number spot. If you have the same permanent address, go ahead and click that and it'll fill out all of your information for you. Okay, so this is one of those rare times when you have to really think about the place where your parents were born. Thankfully, it doesn't get too detailed. A lot of people actually don't know those kind of details about their parents. And this one's a pretty straightforward one. So just first and last name is fine for both of them. And then the country where they were born. My father was born in the US. My mother was born in Canada. All of her citizenship and everything is Canada. So you just select C and then find the Canada on there. For my dad, all the citizenship and birth and everything was United States. So that makes it pretty easy. When it says place of birth specifically, for my dad, I just select the state where he was born, which was Wisconsin. And for my mom, I just select the territory where she was born, which was Quebec. And that seems to have done the trick. I am married, so I go ahead and fill out my spouse's details. And his nationality, again, is also the United States. So, everything with him was United States, birthplace, current citizenship, everything is United States, so it's fairly straightforward in that way. His place of birth, I just fill out, again, the state where he was born, which was Wisconsin. I have no connections with Pakistan, actually, so I'm able to select no for that. I'm not sure exactly what would happen if I had to select yes for Pakistan, but I am able to say no, so it allows me to move on from that question. There's a limited list of occupations, and so you have to find something that fits on their list. They do have a selection, which is other, and fill out the name of your institution. I just put the city and state where my institution is. Carthage College is in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I don't put anything down for a past occupation. I have been a professor for about 20 years, so that works out just fine. Now, the next list here, we're going to be looking at where we're actually going to be visiting. I just listed the 3 cities where we're going to be visiting, Delhi, Agra, and Varanasi, with no commas between. I just need the first line for that. We have not booked anything through an actual tour operator, so we don't have to list anything for that. Our exit portal is also Delhi Airport, same as our entrance. I have visited India before, so I have to go ahead and click yes. And again, I just say Delhi, Agra, and Varanasi, the places where I went in the past. We haven't gotten super creative yet with our travels. And then I had also done the e-visa previously, so I go ahead and find my old e-visa, which thankfully I was able to find one of them, and I popped it up, and I was able to find the information that I needed from there. Just in case you're wondering what an e-visa looks like, here it is, an electronic travel authorization form, ETA. That's the official name for it. Okay, so I go ahead and fill in all of the information there. The old visa number, the type that I had, which was also an e-visa. So it asks where the place of issue was. So I just say that I filled it out online. I really don't know what else to say about that. The date of issue, I don't actually know exactly what date they issued it, but I found a date on there that basically said when I would be eligible to enter the country. So I'm assuming that's probably the date that I was officially given the visa at that time. Now, I have not been refused entry, so I can go ahead and select no for that question. There's a question about whether we have visited any SAARC countries, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC. This is Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. I do have a reference in India. We have a guide in Varanasi, and so I choose to use our guide in Varanasi. And I don't actually know his real address, so I go ahead and just put the city of Varanasi there. And the state is Uttar Pradesh, and the district where he lives is, you have to enter the V and hit Varanasi there. There's lots and lots of districts listed there. I do have his phone number. The first time you visit India, you may actually not know anybody in country. The first time that we went on our exploratory trip, we just used the hotel that we were staying at in Delhi and their phone number, and that did the trick that time. I go ahead and use my sister as a reference in the United States. She doesn't know that. I guess if she watches this video, she's going to find that out. Hey, Helen. You're my reference in the United States, just so you know. Okay, the next page is going to be the one where we are going to be confessing to any of our crimes in the past. Make certain that you are, of course, answering all these questions honestly. You've ever been deported or convicted of certain crimes, it may be very difficult for you to travel to someplace like India, or even possibly to get a passport in the first place, I'm guessing. There's a couple of things I want to say at this point. Probably the end of the visa process is probably the most difficult part. Getting your photographs uploaded properly and then paying is actually quite difficult. So let's go ahead and get started here. First of all, you'll notice that it says, you can write down your reference number so that you can come back to it. And that's fine. You can do that if you like, but that temporary application ID number is actually being emailed to you. So you don't have to write down that very long number. You can just check your email. However, once you submit your photographs and everything is finalized, actually you're going to be given a new ID number, and that will not be emailed to you. So you actually do have to write that one down. Please be careful about that, because you'll actually have a really hard time relocating. I don't think you can relocate your I don't think you can relocate your application if you don't have that other ID and they don't email it to you. So make sure that you write that one down. Okay, so now we're going to be going about the business of trying to get in our photographs. Now, you'll notice it says you need a JPEG. That part is true. You do need a JPEG. But also it says you need a maximum size of 1 megabyte, but it actually has to be smaller than that. I think the maximum size of this one is 200 kilobytes. So I actually made I find making JPEG smaller is pretty easy. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I got it below, believe I got below 200. This one is actually 50 KB. So that one I pop it in. As you can see, they allow you the ability to resize it. So you want to make sure that you have, your face and your head on. You probably shouldn't be smiling actually for this, but I like a smiling picture, so I just found an old picture from one of my videos, and then you have the ability to recrop the picture here, and it gives you, and then you have the ability to get your proper size in, and then it's 2x2, and you're all set with that. So make sure that the majority of your picture is your face. They don't have super restrictions like they do have with, like, for example, the US passport picture is very restrictive and difficult to get right. This one, not so much. As you can see, I can use a variety of different backgrounds. I can be smiling during it, for example, and I think that this one will pass through. We'll see, but I think that this one will pass through. Okay, so this was one of the most challenging tasks that I had in applying for the visa. You can see that you have to upload a scan of your passport information page, and it has to be in PDF form, and it has to be a maximum of 300 KB. I'm not particularly tech savvy, so I found that task to be pretty difficult. It was hard for me to get it below. I was trying various means to get a PDF that was small. I ended up getting it down to, say, 400 or 500, but they are particular. It has to be under 300. So what I ended up doing was, well, first of all, I screwed up. I dragged the PDF into the information page, and then I had to actually kind of just took over my screen. I was not able to continue. I couldn't figure out how to continue, so I had to go back through the e-visa process and and continue again, which wasn't too bad. I went back to my email. I found my temporary application ID. I hadn't written it down, but it was in my email in my email inbox. So I went ahead and entered that, and I basically had to just scroll through all the steps again. It didn't take too long, and then I was brought back eventually to this page where it was asking me again to enter a PDF scan of my passport information page. And so I selected it. I wasn't able to find it in my desktop. The way that I finally got this PDF small enough was I did some screenshots and put them into a Word document. I saved the Word document, and I had to, do various crops and so on. I saved the Word document as a PDF, and I put it into I tried various forms. I finally ended up with one that was like something like email format, something like that. And I saved it to my desktop. However, I couldn't find it when I was, so I actually had to duplicate it. I don't know. You just have to play around with this a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe other people would not find this to be so challenging. I'm sure there's tricks of the trade, but I did not know how to do it. So I just kept playing around until I found a way to get a PDF of my passport page small enough that we were able to just go ahead and upload it and get it into the system. And there it is. It's in there now. Now I'm scrolling on through and just checking over all of the details and making sure that everything is accurate. And the next thing I'm going to do is go to the payment window. At this point, you no longer have a temporary application ID. You have an actual application ID. That one will not be emailed to you. So check the top of this window here and write that one down, or do a screenshot of it or something so that you can come back to this, which quite honestly, you're going to be very likely to have to do. So hit yes, I want to pay now. I'm going to do the SBI ePay. I don't have a PayPal account, and I don't know what Access Bank is, so we're going to hit continue here. I tried putting my American Express card in, and it did not accept it. I tried putting my MasterCard in, and it also did not accept that. And in fact, it said the payment was declined. Once I put my MasterCard information in, I got a text message from MasterCard asking whether this was an actual fee that I wanted to pay, and then I said yes, but then they declined it anyway. So then I had to wait 12 minutes, I think it was, to try the payment again. And this was the point where I needed to go back into the system and re-enter the application ID. Again, this was not the temporary application ID, it was the actual application ID. And so that's where I was happy that I had this video actually. I was doing a screenshot of the entire thing, so I was actually able to go back into the system and see my actual application ID and go back through the system and repay later. And it looks like it has gone through at this point. So now we are at the point where we have spent about $25 and some change on getting this. And I currently have an email that is saying that it is being processed and they expect it to be finished in about 72 hours. Most of the time these things arrive with like the next day. The email says that it's going to come in 72 hours, but it actually comes maybe even same day. These are very quick turnarounds in my experience. We'll see how it goes this year, but my hopes are high that we are actually going to be able to get through with this process. In the past, the only reason I ever had a visa application kicked back was the actual scanning of that passport. Sometimes the quality isn't quite what they want. For example, if a student took a picture of their passport, it might be just a little bit blurry, or the numbers might not be quite completely in focus or within the window that they want. And so sometimes you have to resubmit that particular piece of information. And that's easy to rectify. You simply send them, I believe it was an actual email to a person, you send them the new scan, and within hours you get your acceptance, and then you get your actual visa. So hopefully my information isn't too out of date and I have not steered you wrong here. Good luck applying for your Indian visas, and I'll be expecting mine very soon.